My ex stole everything from me. Then karma sent me his house keys. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. If you've ever trusted someone so completely that you'd hand them your house keys, your heart, and your future, then you know how much it hurts when they use that trust as a weapon. My name is Jamie, and last year my world was stolen, piece by piece, by the man I loved most. It started with a single text from my landlord. "Sorry for your loss, Jamie. Call me when you can." I blinked at the words, heart thudding. Loss. Had someone died? My hands shook as I dialed back, only to hear words that barely made sense. "Your apartment is empty. Your stuff's all gone. Police are here." I raced home, feet numb and mind screaming. My life, the couch I'd saved for, the box of my late mother's letters, even the cheesy fridge magnets, gone. Only a dusty imprint on the floor where our bed once stood. And him, my ex, Matt, gone too. No note, no explanation. Just the lingering scent of his cologne and the silence of absolute betrayal. The next days were a blur, calling the police, filing reports, learning Matt had emptied my bank account and sold my laptop. "You sure he wasn't in trouble?" a detective asked, doubt in his eyes. I was the one under a microscope, not the thief. Friends offered sympathy and old blankets. Family said, "I told you so." Shame crept in, thicker than grief. For months I cycled through rage, humiliation, and numbness. The city seemed smaller, meaner. I changed the passwords he once knew by heart. Every time I heard his name, I flinched. But fate, I learned, is cruel and hilarious in equal measure. One rainy morning, my doorman handed me an envelope. "Someone left this for you," he said, shrugging. Inside, a gleaming set of house keys. Matt's house keys. No note, just cold metal and 100 questions. Was this a trap? A joke? Or was karma offering me the one thing Matt never could? A way to take my life back? I stared at the keys, my pulse pounding, realizing my story was far from over. I couldn't sleep that night. The keys sat on my nightstand, catching every bit of moonlight like they knew I was staring at them. What was I supposed to do? Throw them away? March to the police? Or let myself into Matt's world, just as he'd broken into mine? My mind raced with memories. Matt, standing in our kitchen, swearing he loved me more than anyone. The way he'd grown distant, always clutching his phone, leaving the apartment at odd hours. The lies I'd dismissed as stress. Now I wondered if I'd been his target from the start. The next morning, curiosity gnawed at me. I couldn't focus at work. The keys in my bag felt radioactive. Finally, after hours of pacing, I took the subway to Matt's new place, the one he'd boasted about while we were still together, pretending it was for both of us. My heart pounded as I stood at the door. I hesitated, rehearsing what I'd say if he appeared, but the hallway was empty. With trembling hands, I slid the key into the lock. It turned with a soft click. Inside, the place was a mess, boxes stacked against the walls, dirty dishes in the sink, half-finished bottles on the counter. But what stopped me cold was the pile of my things in the corner, the faded blue quilt, the photo albums, my mother's letters. All the pieces of my life he'd stolen, dumped like trash. Anger surged in my veins. For a second, I wanted to smash everything, to leave a mark. Instead, I snapped photos of the room, the evidence. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs, voices, laughter. Panic squeezed my lungs. There was no time to think. I grabbed what I could, my letters, a favorite sweater, and darted for the back door, my heart in my throat. But just as I slipped out, I caught a glimpse of Matt through the kitchen window. He wasn't alone. A woman's arm wrapped around him, her laugh echoing through the night. And in that moment, I realized Matt's betrayal was only the beginning, and I wasn't the only one he'd lied to. The subway ride home felt endless. My hands shook as I clutched the letters against my chest, Matt's keys burning a hole in my pocket. That woman's laughter haunted me, sharp and careless, like she belonged there. Had he told her the same lies? Did she know what he'd done? Sleep was out of the question. I sat at my kitchen table, reading my mother's letters by the dull glow of my phone. Her words, once a comfort, felt like a lifeline now. Don't let the world harden you, even when it hurts. But all I felt was rage. Rage and a simmering curiosity about the woman with Matt. By morning, I made a decision. I couldn't let this go. If Matt had fooled me, how many others had he hurt? Maybe I was being reckless. Maybe it was about closure. Maybe it was just the need to feel powerful, even for a moment. I found her easily enough. Her purse was on the table, her name stitched in gold letters, Olivia. A quick search on social media filled in the blanks. She'd just moved to the city, tagged at restaurants Matt once took me to, her captions sickly sweet. Photos of him, grinning, his arms slung possessively around her. God, how many times had he run the same script? Fueled by a mix of spite and worry, I created a burner account and messaged Olivia. You don't know me, but you should know who you're living with. I attached a photo of my belongings stacked in Matt's apartment. I stared at the message, hovering over send, my heart racing. Was I warning her, or just lashing out? Did I want revenge, or justice? Before I could decide, a notification flashed. A new email, subject line, I know what you did. No sender. No explanation. Just that one, chilling line. Someone was watching me, and they wanted me to know it. For a moment, I just stared at my screen, heart pounding. Was this Matt? Someone else? Had I gone too far already? I reread the email again and again, searching for clues, but there was nothing. No name, no address, just those 5 words, pulsing with threat. Every shadow in my apartment suddenly seemed sinister. The walls felt closer. I locked the windows, double-checked the door, my mind replaying every step I'd taken in Matt's apartment. Had I been seen? Had he set up cameras, traps, something I'd missed in my rush? I tried to convince myself it was just paranoia, but fear chewed at my gut. By morning, the email had vanished from my inbox, deleted, with no trace. I called my friend Marissa, voice trembling as I told her everything. You need to go to the police, she insisted, but the detective last time hadn't cared. Victim blaming was easy when your life looks like a soap opera. Still, Marissa convinced me to forward her the photos and the email, just in case. I forced myself to go to work, my head buzzing with dread, but life outside didn't care about my melodrama. People pushed past me, phones glued to their faces, rain misting over the city. That night, I waited, half hoping, half dreading another message. Instead, my phone lit up with a reply from Olivia. Who are you? How did you get into our place? Matt says you're obsessed and dangerous. Should I be worried? I swallowed hard. She didn't know me, but Matt had already painted me as the villain. Was he spinning his web around her the same way he did to me? I started to type back, then stopped. The words felt dangerous, every choice a trap. If I pushed too hard, I'd play right into Matt's hands. But if I did nothing, someone else would fall for his lies. And that's when I realized, to win against Matt, I'd have to outplay him at his own twisted game. The next day, I felt like I was walking on eggshells, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Every time my phone buzzed, my pulse spiked. What if Matt really did call the police on me? What if Olivia believed him and pressed charges? But a stubborn part of me refused to let fear win. For too long, I'd let Matt set the rules, always reacting, always on the defensive. Not anymore. I scrolled through Olivia's profile, piecing together her life. She posted about second chances, about rebuilding after heartbreak. Did she know she was his next target, or did she think she'd finally found a good man? Her family was out of state, her job was new, her smile always a little too bright. I remembered that look. I'd worn it myself before everything shattered. I replied, carefully choosing my words. I'm not obsessed, Olivia. I'm trying to warn you. Matt stole everything from me. My money, my belongings, years of my life. I found my things in your apartment. If you need proof, I have photos. Just ask. Minutes crawled by with no response. I almost regretted sending it, until my phone rang. Unknown number. Jamie. The voice was shaky, uncertain. Olivia. She spoke in a whisper, as if afraid of being overheard. Matt just left. He said you were crazy. But I saw some of your things. He told me they were his ex's, that she abandoned him. Her voice cracked. He even gave me your old scarf for my birthday. I felt a mix of vindication and sadness. Olivia, he's lying. I have more proof. And I'm not the only one. He's done this before. We need to talk, somewhere safe. But before she could answer, there was a sharp knock on her end, a voice, low and menacing. Who are you talking to? Silence. The call cut out. For the first time, I realized Olivia might be in real danger, and I was running out of time to save her. Sleep was impossible. Every sound in my apartment set my nerves on edge. I replayed Olivia's trembling voice, the fear I'd heard just before the call ended. Was she safe? Had Matt suspected something? My mind spun worst-case scenarios until dawn. By noon, I still hadn't heard from her. I scrolled through her socials. Nothing new. Her last post was a smiling selfie, Matt in the background, both of them holding coffee. The caption, "Fresh starts." I almost laughed at the irony. I needed answers. If Olivia was scared, maybe she'd left something. A clue, a cry for help. I found myself retracing my steps to Matt's building. My hand tightened around the stolen keys as I hovered by the entrance, scanning for anyone watching. Inside, the air was thick and stale. I crept past the mailboxes, my heart thundering. Matt's door was locked, but the keys fit like they'd always belonged to me. I entered as quietly as I could, every sense on high alert. The apartment was even messier than before, clothes strewn everywhere, dirty plates growing mold. On the coffee table, my old notebook lay open, pages scrawled with Matt's handwriting. I flipped through them, hoping for evidence, anything I could use. Instead, I found lists, names, phone numbers, cryptic notes. Women's names. Mine. Olivia's. Others I didn't recognize. A sudden noise from the bedroom made me freeze. Whispering. I ducked behind the couch, clutching my phone. Two voices, Matt's and a woman's, but not Olivia. They argued in hushed tones about covering tracks and not getting caught again. I snapped a photo of the notebook, my hands slick with sweat. The woman's voice grew louder. "You promised it'd be different this time, Matt. If anyone finds out." The floor creaked. I heard footsteps approaching. I had to get out, now, or risk losing everything all over again. I held my breath, pressed flat behind the couch, praying they wouldn't notice the front door was ajar. Matt's footsteps creaked closer. I could see his shadow sweep across the wall, looming larger than life. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but I waited, barely daring to breathe, clutching my phone with trembling fingers. The woman, whoever she was, kept arguing, dragging Matt back toward the bedroom. "You're sloppy, Matt. If your ex finds out, she'll ruin you." Matt hissed back. "She's not smart enough to touch me." I covered my tracks. A chill ran through me. He was so sure, so arrogant. But the notebook in my bag said otherwise. I inched toward the door, one slow step at a time. My heart thudded so loudly I was sure they'd hear. Finally, I slipped out into the hallway, closing the door behind me as softly as I could. Only when I was outside, gulping in air, did I realize I was shaking all over. Back in my apartment, I pored over the notebook photos. There were addresses, dates, receipts for expensive gifts. The other women, were they victims like me, or something else? I recognized one name, Amanda. I remembered Matt mentioning her once, describing her as crazy. I almost laughed. Classic. Fueled by adrenaline, I reached out to Amanda on social media, sending a message as careful as the one I'd sent Olivia. "You don't know me, but Matt stole from me and lied to you. You're not alone." Just as I hit send, my phone rang again. Marissa, my friend, sounded panicked. "Jamie, you need to see this. Check your email. Now." I opened it, and there it was. Photos of me. Taken today. Entering and leaving Matt's apartment. Subject line. "We see you." Someone was closing in, and now I was the one being watched. The photos in my inbox made my skin crawl. Grainy shots of me outside Matt's building, my face half turned in fear. Someone had followed me. Someone who wanted me to know I wasn't safe. For a moment, I just stared, nausea twisting in my gut. I called Marissa back, my voice barely above a whisper. "What do I do?" She was firm. "You can't go back there. Forward those photos to the police now. And stay with me tonight, okay? You're not alone." I hesitated. Last time the police barely took me seriously. But this felt different. The stalking, the threats, the evidence in Matt's own handwriting. If something happened to Olivia, or me, maybe this would finally be enough. Packing a bag, I tried to gather the scattered pieces of my life. The keys, the notebook, my mother's letters. I kept checking the hallway, certain someone was waiting outside. When I finally stepped out, every shadow in the city felt hostile. At the train station, a man stared too long. My phone buzzed with an unknown number, just silence when I answered. At Marissa's apartment, I sent everything to the detective, the photos, the emails, the notebook. My fingers shook so badly I could barely type. Marissa made tea and tried to joke about us being real-life detectives, but I saw the worry in her eyes. Late that night, a new message arrived. "You think you're smart, but you don't know who you're dealing with." Walk away. No name. No number. I didn't sleep at all. Lying in the dark, I kept thinking of Olivia, Amanda, and whoever else was tangled in Matt's lies. For the first time, I wondered if I was in over my head. But the next morning, Amanda replied, and she wanted to meet. Maybe together, we could finally turn the tables on Matt. Amanda's message was cautious but direct. I believe you. He stole from me too. We need to talk, face to face. I know others. I nearly dropped my phone. For months, I'd felt like a lone voice screaming into the void, gaslit and dismissed by everyone who thought I was crazy. Now, I wasn't alone. There were more of us, more people Matt had hurt, and maybe, together, we had a chance. We met in a quiet cafe across town, near the river. Amanda arrived first, sharp eyes, tense shoulders, her jaw set like she hadn't slept in days. She slid into the booth beside me, hands wrapped tight around her coffee. He emptied my savings, stole my grandmother's ring, and told everyone I was unstable, she said quietly. When I tried to warn another woman, he threatened me. We traded stories and whispers, building a mosaic of Matt's lies. Amanda knew of 2 more women, one out of state, one local. He uses different names. Same tricks. He's careful, but not as smart as he thinks. We compared our evidence. Texts, photos, the notebook. Amanda even had a recording, Matt promising to pay her back, blaming crazy exes for his problems. We pieced together a timeline of his cons, a web that spanned years. We have to go to the police, together, Amanda said, fierce now. They can't ignore us if there are more victims. And if Olivia is in danger, we need to warn her before it's too late. But as we left the cafe, Amanda's phone pinged. A message from an unknown number. You should have kept your mouth shut. Both of you. We froze, glancing over our shoulders at the strangers passing by. Paranoia pressed in. Was Matt watching us right now? But now I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for all of us. And I refused to back down. Amanda and I walked quickly through the busy streets, glancing back at every corner. He's watching, she muttered, stuffing her phone deep into her pocket. I could feel it too. Eyes on us, the city suddenly full of ghosts. We ducked into a pharmacy, pretending to browse, and quietly called the detective. This time, Amanda spoke. She laid out everything. Her evidence, the notebook, the threats. When she mentioned the other victims, the officer's tone changed. He asked us to come to the station immediately. At the precinct, they finally took us seriously. Together, we told our story, how Matt wormed his way into women's lives, stole what mattered most, and covered his tracks by painting us as unstable. The detective's eyes narrowed when he saw the threats on Amanda's phone and the notebook full of women's names. He made copies, promising to assign someone to the case. Stay somewhere safe, he warned. Don't communicate with Matt or anyone connected to him. We'll reach out to the other women. For the first time, I felt hope flicker. Maybe the truth would come out. Maybe Matt's web of lies was about to unravel. Back at Marissa's apartment, I finally let myself cry. Not out of weakness, but relief. Marissa hugged me. Amanda sat close, and for a moment, we were just survivors, bound by betrayal, but not broken. That night, a police cruiser parked outside. I tried to sleep, but adrenaline kept me wired. Every hour, I checked my phone for news about Olivia. Still nothing. Just as I began to drift off, my phone buzzed. A message from Olivia, short, panicked. He found out. He's angry. I don't feel safe. My heart dropped. The fear in her words was unmistakable. Matt was losing control, and I realized we had to act fast before someone really got hurt. I called Olivia immediately, praying she'd pick up. It rang once, twice. Then her voice, shaky and rushed. Jamie? I'm hiding in the bathroom. He's pounding on the door. I heard Matt's muffled shouts in the background, the thud of fists against wood. You're lying. Who are you talking to? Give me your phone. My heart hammered in my chest. Olivia, listen. Stay quiet. Don't let him in. The police are already building a case. I'm going to call them for you, right now. You're not alone. Just hold on. She started to cry, silent, desperate sobs. I should have listened. I'm so sorry. He's not who I thought. A crash interrupted her words. The connection cut. Silence. I dialed 911, breathless, giving Olivia's address and begging them to hurry. Amanda texted our detective, sending a frantic message. Every minute crawled by, dread tightening around my ribs. Amanda and I sat together, clutching hands. She'll be okay, Amanda whispered, but fear trembled in her voice. We watched for updates, my mind spinning through every awful possibility. Then, an alert from Olivia's number. Police are here. I'm safe. Thank you. I exhaled for the first time in what felt like hours. Relief washed over me, mingled with anger. How many close calls would it take before Matt was stopped for good? The detective called next, his voice urgent. We have Olivia. She's safe for now. We're moving on Matt tonight. Stay put. Don't try to intervene. Amanda and I sat in stunned silence, hope flickering in our eyes. Maybe, just maybe, this nightmare was almost over. But as I looked out Marissa's window, a black car idled on the street below, headlights off, engine running. Matt wasn't finished yet, and neither was I. We watched the car for what felt like forever. No movement, no lights, just the steady thrum of menace in the dark. Amanda squeezed my hand. Do you think it's him? I nodded, my mouth dry. He's not going to let this go. Not until he's exposed. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. Another unknown number, another message. You think you've won? I have nothing left to lose. You'll regret this. I read it aloud. Marissa's face paled. Amanda muttered, he's desperate. That's when they're most dangerous. We debated calling the police again, but just then the cruiser outside flicked on its lights and rolled forward. The black car's engine revved. Tires squealed as it sped off down the street. I ran to the window and caught a glimpse of Matt behind the wheel, wild-eyed, jaw clenched, looking nothing like the man I once loved. The detective called minutes later. Matt's car was seen circling Olivia's place too. We're moving in, tonight. We have enough for a warrant. You did the right thing, both of you. We stayed up, wired and exhausted, waiting for word. At 2:19 a.m., my phone rang. Matt's in custody, the detective said. He tried to break into Olivia's again. She's safe, you're safe, and we're collecting evidence for a full case. For the first time since this nightmare began, I let out a real, shuddering breath. Amanda sobbed quietly. Marissa hugged me so hard it hurt, and I realized I was finally free. But freedom felt strange. So much of my life had been defined by Matt's betrayal, his manipulation, his lies. Now I had space to feel something else, possibility, hope, maybe even peace. As dawn broke, my phone lit up with messages from Olivia and Amanda, their gratitude and relief echoing my own. But just as I started to let my guard down, an old number pinged my phone, a name I didn't recognize, with a single chilling question. Did you really think it was just Matt? For a moment, the world spun. The new message blinked on my phone, taunting me. Did you really think it was just Matt? My first instinct was denial, just another bluff, another cruel trick to keep me afraid. But deep down, I knew Matt was too methodical to act alone. The notebook, the whispered threats, the other woman's voice at his apartment. There was a network. And I just rattled the hive. Amanda read the message over my shoulder, her expression turning grim. I recognized that number. It's Jess. She dated Matt after me. He told me she was just a friend, but I always felt something was off. We scrambled to piece it all together. Jess, the woman from the apartment. Names in the notebook we hadn't yet called. Amanda forwarded the message to the detective, who urged us to stay cautious. Matt's not talking, but we have reason to believe he had help. We're widening the investigation. Be alert. But that wasn't enough for me. I was tired of being scared. I messaged Jess directly, my words careful but blunt. You've been threatening me. Why? What did Matt promise you? The reply came quickly. You ruined everything. You should have left him alone. Now you've made things worse for all of us. My stomach twisted. There was more at stake than just my stolen things. This was about control, loyalty, and secrets buried deeper than I'd guessed. Amanda, Olivia, and I called the other women listed in Matt's notebook, warning them, urging caution. Each call revealed a fresh layer of betrayal, a stolen inheritance, sabotage jobs, even anonymous smear campaigns. Just as I thought we'd reached the end, Olivia messaged. I found something, hidden in Matt's closet. Cash, documents, a burner phone. Should I bring it to the police? We finally had the evidence to bring down the whole operation or become the next targets. Olivia's message sent a jolt through my veins. Cash, documents, a burner phone, all the proof we'd ever hoped for, finally within reach. I called her immediately, my words tumbling out in a rush. Don't touch anything else. Go straight to the police. Tell them it's connected to Matt's arrest. Amanda and I waited, nerves frayed, as Olivia brought the stash to the precinct. Within hours, the detective called with news. The documents detailed a trail of bank transfers, fake identities, and years of cons. Much bigger than just heartbreak and stolen belongings. Matt hadn't just been preying on women for revenge or greed. He'd built a small criminal ring, with Jess and others as accomplices. The burner phone linked him to even more victims, some still out there, some too scared to speak. They've got enough to charge Jess and Matt both, the detective said, relief in his voice. We're reaching out to the other names in the notebook. You and Amanda should stay cautious, but I think this is the beginning of the end. That night, Amanda and I gathered at Marissa's again. It felt different now, not haunted, but hopeful. The three of us talked late into the night, letting ourselves laugh for the first time in months. I realized how much I'd changed, not just from what I'd lost, but from what I'd found in these women. Courage, solidarity, a kind of family built out of survival. Before bed, I checked my phone. A new message from an unknown number, but this time, no threats. Just 2 words. Thank you. Maybe another victim. Maybe someone we'd helped. I finally slept, dreamless and deep, the keys to Matt's house lying cold and useless in my bag. The next morning, I mailed them to the police, a full circle. I was done carrying that weight. But as I walked into the sunlight, I felt a new chapter unfolding, one that was finally, truly mine. Weeks passed. The headlines faded, police wrapped up interviews, and Jess's trial date was set alongside Matt's. Their network unraveled, one secret at a time, as more women stepped forward, some with stories eerily similar to mine. For the first time in years, I could breathe without looking over my shoulder. The city felt different. My world, once so small and suffocating, seemed to open up again. I moved into a new apartment, just a few blocks from Marissa and not far from Amanda, whose sharp humor had become an anchor. We met Olivia for coffee and laughed at things that once would have made us cry. But healing isn't a clean break. It's a series of choices every single day. Some mornings, I woke tangled in old memories, panic clutching my chest. Other days, I caught myself smiling at a stranger, daring to hope. It was in those moments I realized the most important thing Matt had stolen wasn't money or belongings. It was my belief that I deserved better. And now, piece by piece, I was taking that back. The detective called one last time. You did more than get justice for yourself. You helped others find their voices. That matters, Jamie. Sometimes I still dream of the keys, cold, heavy, a symbol of everything I survived. But now, I carry a new set in my pocket. Keys to my own place, my own life. I'm not the person Matt tried to break. I'm someone stronger, wiser, and finally free. To anyone who's ever lost everything, you are more than what someone takes from you. Sometimes karma doesn't just return what's gone. It gives you the tools to build something better. As I locked my new front door behind me, sunlight streaming through clean glass, I smiled. My story wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming myself. And this time, I was never giving the keys away again.